Another sweaty one from Craig, as you do. It's about 35 in my flat tonight, just in the flat. So it's cooled down from yesterday. But it did reach when I got off the camera and I looked at my thermostat, it said 39 in here. So it was 36 outside in the evening, nearly midnight, and it was 39 in here, so it was pretty hot. But I don't know how well you can hear me, so I'm going to pause it quickly because I can hear the pump. I've got a noisy pump running at the minute, so bear with me a second. So we start running that back. I don't know how much of a difference that audio would be. We'll see at the end of the video. In case you didn't hear me, I was saying that, yeah, last night it was 36 outside at nearly midnight and 38, 39 in my flat, so you can imagine it's sweaty, but it's 36 in here tonight, so it's cooled down a little. But my reflection tonight was on my own behaviour. Again, this time more than the representation of what kind of effect it had on others. So I'm seeing the behaviour in others, and hence the reason why I'm prompted into speaking about it. And that's people pleasing. I had a tendency to do this for a really, really long time. And I did from childhood as well, actually. And if you've been here with me on this journey on the channel, you'll know that I've spoken quite a lot about abandonment and self-sabotage, and also trying to detach from people, places and things that don't serve us and maybe keeping us stuck in positions and stuff like that. If you haven't, you can go through the content and have a little look through some of my videos and you may find some information there that I'm referring to, though we won't go all the way there. But so for me, people pleasing stemmed from when I was a child, being very young, feeling I had to do what was needed to fit in. I had to be a bit over the top, over accentuate parts of myself to maybe fit in into a narrative and fit into a box for other people. It was seen as I felt that I didn't have much to bring to the table, and felt that I was in lack, as a child, without understanding what that term meant, And I carried it for a long time, especially after not understanding why my father wouldn't take me on, despite him having a home, and he had 2 other sons close to my age, and he was married, had a big house, he had, his kids never wanted for nothing apart from me, and I was always there with that, and that's how it was, and it was lack, it was a real lack situation, and I saw the tendency within my mother to overgive herself to any circumstance to maybe get what she needed out of life, and also to validate her own needs that she couldn't quite express at times without feeling less than. So she'd mask it a lot by, presenting herself a certain way. And I unknowingly and subconsciously picked up on this behaviour myself, and this is probably the first time me even speaking this out loud this way, but I ended up taking on that behaviour myself, but kind of manifested into a different way of sorts for, my own narrative and way of, carrying that behaviour, in itself within, like, my world, my version of it, basically. And it had always stemmed down to what I'd look like and how I was seen, and what my value would be, because the world that we live in is in order with hierarchy, and I've spoken on this topic before as well. Hierarchy is a dangerous thing when it comes to a material world and stuff like that, and the physical. And for me, I'm at a stage in life now where I'm more about my internal world, and I understand it a lot better than I could ever really think about in the material world. Even if I was to come into millions of pounds now and have a lot of money, I would do some good things with it, don't get me wrong, though it wouldn't really make much of a difference for me as a person having an abundance of physical items because, well, technically and tangibly, it would have an effect because it may be changing the way I live in my circumstances and financial freedom and those kind of things. But for me, I'd still be looking more towards with what fits with my internal world after all that I've experienced and what I've gone through to be in the position that I'm in now, to the kind of mindset that I take and what I am careful about consuming, because I use the term you become consumed with what you consume, and you are the company you keep, you are what you eat, all these different terms that we talk about here, or I talk about, but we, because you're here with me, so we talk about it, because I know you may discuss it with others if you have stayed with me that long. But for me, it's about growth internally. That's the whole point of this whole experience of me being in the position I'm in now, is that I've overcome so much, which I really have, and I have to acknowledge that for myself. I've pretty much done it alone, with the realest of support, which was from a couple of people in my life along the way, which is normal for somebody of maybe a journey similar to myself, not the same, but similar within an internal sense, and especially with a way of being, a way of thinking, and a way of thinking and being together that coincide, and a way I carry myself now, and so I was not quite aware of that pattern of behaviour as a child, even though I could see it within like my mother and the way she played out, and I would kind of have that kind of construct within me without subconsciously doing it without consciously knowing I was doing it. So I'd maybe make a fool of myself. I didn't mind looking a bit stupid. I was a clown of the class a lot, and I tell a lot of jokes. I'd probably know a little bit too much about certain things that I shouldn't have a little bit too early as a child, and being around the pubs and the men and all the stupid jokes that adults tell, and being a kid, you kind of consume now. As with children, they say the child's brain is like a sponge, and it really is. It soaks up information. And I always did, and I still do now, to be fair. I kind of like it. It's like a way of being for me now, is that even I could not talk, and I read a lot, and I see it in others and what people speak about and the conversations that's had amongst others. I mean, like on social media, with what people share and what's current in the media, the fads of 2026, the society, and the way people carry themselves, and what people are talking about, what's the buzz topics, and the fads, basically. And I can kind of read into all these things and understand it now from my perspective of how I was overgiving and hard people please to fit in circumstances, and until the point where I understood that it was a detriment to me, and how it has an adverse effect on maybe what you'd want that kind of behaviour to, what that kind of behaviour and what kind of outcome that kind of behaviour would have after doing it in a conscious manner and subconsciously together in tandem. Like, when you subconsciously know that you're doing that, and then you consciously come to the awareness that you're doing it and continue to do it anyway, because you feel that you've spun a narrative, or you have to fit in a box and a circle we make excuses, right? We say, I know that's not right, but we use that word but when we're kind of in that kind of behaviour and energy and way of thinking and being, and I've noticed for me when I've done this, it's really been to my detriment, where I lead with compassion and understanding, because of my own journey, has been pretty tough, you know, and with my experiences, it hasn't been easy. It's been challenging, you know, and I may come across strong, resilient, and super like that geezer could take a lot, and it does have an adverse effect internally, and that's hence the reason why I have to be the way I am, or maybe the reason why I carry myself the way I do, you know, and I walk alone, and I'm really like careful about what I share and who I talk to and what I do, and how I am and what I give to others now, because of this reason. Is that I noticed when I was overgiving and I'd be oversharing, overcaring, despite others maybe saying that they accept that I'm a good person, not everyone can. Some people will only see like my past hurts and haunts, maybe some of the big mistakes that I've made, and not seeing the lead up for me as a person to my patterns of behaviour, why I would be like that. And even though I would see that in others, I know that not everybody will see the potential in me with the same kind of lens that I would see the potential in them, despite showcasing behaviours that say otherwise. And hence the reason why I would be like that, and I would be affected by, you know, sometimes narcissistic behaviours and you kind of negative patterns of behaviour, and being, you know, feeling stuck in certain circles and circumstances around people, places, and things that display these patterns of behaviour, and will kind of manipulate someone in that kind of way of people pleasing, and get used, easily used, you know, naive, they'd say that is to be, you know, and it really does have such a bad effect on not only you as a person people pleasing, but to the others that you're really giving too much to, and you're putting in, you allow them to run with a narrative of you. They may be seeing you at that level that they meet you in a people-pleasing state, so every time that they leave you, that's what they see, is that a person that will they can just take and take and take, and you will get siphoned from. And the moment you do decide to say, well, how comes you're not seeing this, despite me have said a few things to you to showcase that I'm not this, but I want to give to you because I see the potential through my lens. But not everyone will see that, like I said, and they will use and take. And the moment you choose you, yourself, the narrative about you will change. It will be, you've changed, you're different, and maybe some things will be said about you that, you know, that can manifest into different ways. So it has an adverse effect, and I've seen this in other people's dynamics that go on, not just in mine, but people that's in the public eye that share and showcase stories of the similar nature, you know. And it's something that I've really thought about, and another reason why I carry myself the way I do, and why I'm speaking and sharing like this, you know. It's important that we know that these behaviours that we display not only is a negative behaviour gonna be displayed from yourself, like a projection, or you trying to express something that's happened to you, but when you're potentially not seeing something as a negative behaviour but enabling somebody else's, and that is an issue that is quite negative too. And sometimes subconsciously we think it's okay to people please because we have to fit into a circumstance or a narrative or a box to be where we need to be in life, maybe, you know, get through a circumstance, a dynamic, but really when you're consciously aware of these patterns of behaviour within yourself, you need to check yourself right there before you wreck yourself. Yeah, so it's important, check yourself before you wreck yourself when it comes to giving to the wrong people too much, because the moment you choose you, others will spin a narrative, and it will look like you've been deceptive the whole time, despite you not have. So people pleasing has negative connotations associated to it, despite it looking harmless to ourselves, you know, because I've been one to do it and it's had that effect with me. So it's something that I just really thought about, and I thought I'd talk about, you know. And yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there. Again, it's 14:44 on the timer, like yesterday. That's a strange one, but if you resonated with anything I've said and you've enjoyed hearing what I'm saying, or you feel that you've been in that situation, Give me a like, and also leave a comment as well on this one, and tell me what you think and your experience has been, if you've been a bit of a people pleaser and you felt that it's had a negative connotation to you, and you've understood it now consciously, and you may be in a similar position to the way of thinking like I am, and you notice this pattern of behaviour in others too. And if you do, maybe share it with others that may want to listen to me or hear what I have to say on the subject and the way I've spoken today, so they can maybe hear it from my perspective and with my words, and they can maybe understand it a little bit better for themselves, despite you may have been telling them, or they've been trying to work through it too. So let people know that they're on their own with these behaviours and things, and that we're all human, we all experience it, and it's okay, you know. And as long as we look at these patterns of behaviour, once we become consciously aware of it, then we can change these aspects about ourselves. Like it says on my chest, with time comes change, you know. With time we can work through these things and we can change them, you know. And I'm a prime example of that, you know. So if you've liked it, like I said, give me a little like. Remember, this is Craig's Corner, and it's a safe space. And I really highlight that, saying, you know, it is a safe space here, okay? And you're all welcome. And if you like what I do, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Think about some of the things that I say, and maybe understand these patterns of behaviour within yourself and others too, and, you know, help people push through these things and work through these behaviours as we get older, and showcase it to younger people that we awareness is key, and being conscious of ourselves is important too, you know. And it's more important than physical tangible items and taking drugs and going crazy in the world. Experience is one thing, and experiencing the negative side of the outcomes of some of the patterns of behaviour that come with these things is another. And yeah, but I've been Craig, this is Craig's Corner, and thank you for being here. And if no one's told you today, I love you, by the way, and that's from my heart space, you know, because not everyone tells me that. I don't hear that a lot, and I'm not saying that as I woe is me, Eeyore under a tree, but I've got a lot of love to give, and I'll give enough love to myself. I validate me, you know. So when I got a little bit more running over, I'm able to give. And today I just wanted to let you know that I love you for being here, all right? So consider all the things like I said before, and yeah, and I hope you have a good night and a good evening, and I hope you have a warm place to sleep, a plate of food, and, you know, somewhere to sleep in general, you know. And just be safe wherever you are in the world, and always remember you're not alone, okay? If you're suffering in any kind of way, remember there are organisations available that you can go to. If you're in the UK, there's a charity called Mind. There's access to them everywhere. I'm going to try and get the links for some of these places and put them in maybe my bio and stuff like that. I'll reach out to these companies and see if it's okay if I was allowed to do that, because I'm not a registered charity or anything like that, though they are. So I think they might accept some of these little plugs and that, and also the Samaritans, and also the police. Yeah, sounds crazy, but there are some people that are that vulnerable that they need help, and that's the only way that they would get help, you know. So don't do anything silly if you're feeling the type of way. Remember, there is help that I was willing to accept, you know. Just accept the help when it's there, basically. Sorry, I got my words stumbled up because it's pretty late and I'm aware of the time. All right, and thank you for being here. All right, people.